Blog Talk Radio.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Superhero Academy. I'm your host, Crossfire the Crusader. I am online here with the hardest working man in the real-life superhero community, DangerMan himself. DangerMan, say hello to everybody.
This is DangerMan. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. Anybody that wants to call in and join the conversation today as we learn about DangerMan and his mission out there in California and the people he's helping, the call-in number is going to be 917-889-3317. That's again 917-889-3317. I also have several people in the chat room. I see Moxie Gusto, White Skull, Cognito, and some guests there. So anybody that wants to pop a question on the chat room there, I'm also monitoring that. DangerMan, just pretty simple what I ask here. First off, tell everybody a little bit about what DangerMan does.
Well, I do some education, a lot of education stuff, empowering children to live their best life through education and by living a healthy lifestyle. And that through that, I promote literacy, safety, and good health to children in urban and underserved communities across America. And I talk to kids about the dangers of not being able to read and the dangers of not getting a good education, as well as the dangers from guns, gangs, drugs, alcohol, and tobacco.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, one of the things you teach them about is accountability also, right? That you're responsible for what you do. That's right. That's a rare concept to hear anybody talk about anymore, that you got to be accountable for what you do. And I'm like, wow, DangerMan didn't pull any strings. He didn't pull any punches there.
Right.
So how did you?
Got it. Go ahead.
How did you become? What was the inspiration that brought you to become and create the character and become DangerMan?
Well, it started in 1998. It was in regards to Hispanic family that was on the 10 freeway, and they got off in East Los Angeles, and while getting off, they got lost, and they were driving around, and then some gangs were fighting, and a stray bullet from one of the gang members' guns crushed through their back window and killed their 4-year-old daughter. And from then I said, wow, I didn't even know this family, but when I heard about it, I said, wow, our kids are in danger. I said, here we are in the greatest country in the world, and we can't even protect our children. They're, keep them safe, and our kids aren't supposed to die before our parents. And so that really concerned me. So I said from that moment on, in 1998, I was going to help with the safety, education, and welfare of children.
Working with children it's not as easy as it sounds. Everybody thinks, as a clown, I hear a lot of people say, well, anybody could do that. But, it's not really anybody could. Children are very good judges of character to start with. They know when you're yanking their chain. They know when you're not being straight with them, and they know who they can trust. They've got a real good sense of right and wrong built into them. sometimes it's just a matter of nurturing that.
Mm-hmm.
How hard was it? I know you do school programs. How did you go about getting into doing school programs? How did you? I know it's not real easy to get into the schools. They're real protective and such like that. How's your process?
Well,
there?
what happened from the program with the guns? We started talking about guns and kids don't mix. Okay, making sure that kids knew the value of a good education, and education goes a long way. You educate kids about guns and those type of safety issues, and then kids can better prepare themselves. So what happened? We went to a literacy program, which was because as we found out that kids that are reading and are in school are less likely to get involved in gangs and guns. So I had gone out and got about 50,000 books. I had them in a warehouse and started distributing books. So what happened, through other contacts, we just started doing one school, and then it spread. We were doing a second school, and with our literacy program, and then for 2 years we traveled across the country and did a program called 12 Days of Christmas, where I left Los Angeles on the 12th of December and came back on Christmas Eve. And on those 12 days, I went to 12 different cities giving out books and educational tours to kids. And it just kind of spread from there because I'm here in Los Angeles, so it kind of spread through the community what Danger Man was doing and our values and our goals, and everyone wanted to get aboard and help us do that thing and make it happen.
That's just awesome. So you say you've been doing this since '98?
Yeah, since 1998. I think
that's one of the longest careers in the real-life superhero community.
I started actually. I started in July. I started in July of 1998. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I was doing it. I was doing it part time, and now since about 5 years ago, now I do it full time now.
Very, very impressive.
And beside our education program, now we have our entertainment part of what we do. We have several books out, several comic books out, and then we just got through shooting a film, which we're in editing now. It's a short film. It's the first film of the Danger Man franchise, and then part of our web series that we're going to launch next month. And it's an action adventure, which the first few series segments are going to deal with human trafficking. Okay, where we created this whole backstory about Danger Man and what he does in his community, and we have several recurring characters, and it's a good product.
I know that you have a Danger Man comic book that came out just a couple months ago.
Yeah, right.
Is that a recurring thing or just a periodic? How often are you going to be doing
that? That's a current thing. We got two of them out now. We got that first one came out a few months ago, and the second one came out about 3 weeks ago. So we have the two that are out now, and they're actually going to go along with with the web series that we're shooting, because the stories will kind of complement each other.
One thing that I ask everybody, and this is what really brings where the rubber meets the road, doing real-life superhero work, a lot of people, you'll talk to them, they'll be like, because I did this and I did that, that's all about me. But I really believe anything you do like this is about the people you do it for. And so I ask, what are some of the amazing things, the most memorable situations that you've been in the process of doing this, some ways that you've impacted the lives of the people you're touching?
Well, I think Mona, a lot of it, like for instance what we were doing down in South LA and the South Los Angeles area, as far as our education and our book programs, because we were giving out books to kids who had never had books before in their homes. Okay, kids that had TVs, you got like a TV in every room, but they don't have a book. Okay, and to see their faces when we gave them books, and I go in and sit down and I read to them. I read like, Green Eggs and Ham. That's one of my favorite books. I read Green Eggs and Ham to them, and then give them these books and give them book bags and bookmarks and stuff, and it really, just really inspired them. I know one time there was a funny moment when I was in a school in New Jersey, and I just about wrapping up talking to this class on a program we do called I Can Because I Believe I Can, and that's a tour that I do where we talk about empower kids that you can do or be anything that you want to be as long as you believe that you can. All right. And so I was finishing up, and then this one kid runs in the room, and he said, Danger Man, there's a fight in the lunchroom, okay? Lunchroom is across the hall, and it's like, and so everybody's looking at me. They say, okay, go, Danger Man, go get him, And so, of course, I'm in a school, I can't go in there, and that's up to security, but I didn't want to look like I couldn't handle it, so, But luckily, I tell you, it was funny because then the security guys ran up and said, hey, Danger Man, we got it handled, buddy, thanks, and they went in and, broke up the fight, So.
And I've got the White Skull online here. White Skull, welcome to Superhero Academy.
Thank you.
And I've also got area code 318. Area code 318, you're on Superhero Academy.
Yo, Sonic Eagle.
Sonic Eagle, one of our regulars here. Y'all are online with Crossfire the Crusader and Danger Man. If you got any questions for Danger Man, go on ahead and just jump in here and let's keep this going because I'm finding this rather fascinating. One of our, I would have to say, one of our veteran members of the community, and he's out there doing good every day. It looks like this is a very busy individual. I'm very impressed by Danger Man, by the way. Just want you to know that, Danger Man.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And let's see. Looks like I got another caller trying to come in. Yeah, we do have room for one more caller if anybody wants it. But go ahead, Danger Man. You're telling your stories there.
Okay.
Just the cases where you've gone out there and done so much. I mean, I could imagine you could write a book on some of the events of things that have happened.
Oh yeah, I could. And I also do what I call Danger Man moments every day. I got a YouTube channel, and I do a Danger Man moment where I talk about something that whether it's like a safety issue or a crime issue, in the community or in the schools or across this nation. And, so a lot of my friends on, YouTube, and I have a huge fan base between YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on about 10 different social websites. And so, I have this huge fan base of people that, that write me and chime in and follow, the things that we do and the conversations that we have. So it's, pretty exciting work. I enjoy it, and I get to touch a lot of young people's lives. And we're doing a child obesity program where we have a tour called Fun, Fitness, and Good Health. And that's a tour that we do across the country to fight child obesity. And I got the Aetna Foundation is my national sponsor on that.
All right. Now,
Is that
the White Skull may have been going up there with them these days.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I making too much noise?
I don't know. I'm hearing clank, clank in the background. You got your minions chained to the wall again there, Skull?
I always have my minions chained to the wall.
All right, we're good to go there. Whatever that was is passed on.
All right, okay. Yeah, so it's good work.
Man, you said you do this. You been doing this full time for about 3 years.
About 5 years now. Yeah.
About 5 years now. One thing I'd be curious about is apparently you've got some sort of foundation set up or something that funds this and allows you the time to do this. What kind of a setup do you have there as far as the background?
Well, I have, like I said, I have a 501c3, and then the Aetna Foundation is my national sponsor, as well as I have other sponsors that come aboard. I've had General Motors, I have Amtrak, Pepsi, Blockbuster, And then, we raise money, and I get speaking engagements, which I travel around the country to, go and speak, and then actually out of the country as well. I was in Australia recently, and, and I'll be headed to Virginia in a couple of weeks to do some big events up there. And, so that and throughout our tours and our products that we sell, our T-shirts and our other things, they help us support the work.
Very, very interesting. It's just fascinating to sit back and watch because, like, man, there's got to be 4 of you to do everything you do. I swear sometimes. I don't know how you keep the pace up. I've really been amazed. Back to some of the things, the different programs you told us about. Some of them. What are some of the other programs that you?
Well, like that, we have our. We also have our drug program where I'm working with kids about not only saying no to drugs, but why it's important for them to say no to drugs. Okay, what drugs do to you and how they tear you down and destroy your life. Not just as Nancy Reagan said, say no to drugs, but we really break it down to them and show them the impact of their life and their community and how drugs can pull you down. Okay, and then so we have our literacy program, and which is about the more you read, the more you learn, the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay, and where kids need to read more, it can lead to open doors, scholastic awards, their face on billboards. So stay in school, don't be no fool, don't be no thug, don't do no drugs. Because kids in the schoolhouse stay out of the jailhouse. That's right.
Awesome. Is there a website somewhere that lists the different programs that you offer? And if somebody wanted to kind of pick up the ball and join you on this, was there somewhere we could we could sign on?
They can go to www.thedangerman.com. It's just thedangerman, THE. DangerMan.com. All
right, I'll try to remember to put that on the group there on Facebook so everybody can get that. On Facebook, it's Danger Man on Facebook, and then it's on, and then as well on YouTube, it's Urban Superhero on YouTube. All right, I'm pass some note here to somebody on the chat room that has a message for us about a young girl in Salt Lake City. Apparently, Valerie in the chat room said that without going into too many details, a 10-year-old girl was critically injured in a freak accident yesterday, and she is now at the primary children in Salt Lake City recovering from severe head trauma. So I'm hoping she'll call in and share some more about that with us, but she wanted to give a quick request there, so we do want to keep the young girl in our prayers. And absolutely. We look for some updates on that, and I've invited her to call in and share that with us. We got about 11 minutes left in the show, so anybody that has a question for Danger Man, feel free to chime in. White Gold, do you have something you'd like to ask?
Not at the moment.
And Andrew, another reason, what I do is so important is that, especially like for minority communities, is that, when you look at, how superheroes are portrayed in the media and even on this big screen, okay, superheroes are, young Caucasian, okay, and so a lot of times in our community, they like, oh, we can't be a superhero, okay, so it's been a big lift to a lot of, minority kids because they say, wow, here's somebody that looks like us, okay, and can, be a superhero and does things to, help empower our community and fight the bad guys, and kids, it really inspires them and their parents, and, the police. I have a close relationship with the police departments and, Sheriff Lee Baca, who is the main sheriff out here, and a lot of different organizations.
So I've got a question here. Now, have you found a lot of, one question I have seen that pops up quite a bit from some corners of our community is why the costume? Have you found that the persona of Danger Man has opened up doors to you that would not be open otherwise and allowed you to bring messages to people that need it that you couldn't have done without that?
Yeah, you know, it really has because you know, being Danger Man and you know, doing what I do in my brand, it really has given me an opportunity to be a lot of different places and be welcomed, you know, because of, you know, my reputation and the quality of work that you know that we do, okay. And so yeah, it's been a, you know, God, I'm telling you, it's really been an inspiration. And so you know we just continue to build upon that and, you know, do the good work and you know, and do it and you know, that's why they sometimes call me the hardest working superhero in the business, okay. You know, because you know, I'm relentless in building this brand and building it to, you know, to something that even after, you know, that I'm gone, that, you know, the brand still lives on, and that somebody else can take the reins of Danger Man and go with it.
Yeah, I've noticed Danger Man, aside from talking to kids, you even on your little daily videos, I've noticed you calling out pastors and politicians and just general public people who weren't setting the right examples. You hold people to a high standard, don't you?
I sure do.
Leadership
because,
and
you know,
spiritual leadership, especially, you hold to a high standard, don't you?
Oh yeah, because especially, you know, these politicians that, you know, that we elect them to office and you know, they need to you know, act accordingly. I mean, you know, these guys get up there and they spend this money and act like they don't have any parents, you know, and they're setting an example because you see other young people that look and see what they do. All right, so yeah, they need to be held to a high standard, and I don't have a problem doing it. Okay. And you know, there's that. There was a song out a couple years ago. It was a gospel song, and it says, "Yeah, we fall down, but we get up." All right, you know, which is all well and good, but I mean, you don't have to fall down. Okay, if you think about it and make the right choices, and think about the choices that you make, you don't have to fall down. Because some of the things that you know, that these guys like this Anthony Weiner and some of these guys, you know, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I know. I heard a pastor teach that some of the most boring stories in the Bible are also some of the most amazing stories in the Bible because it just involves somebody doing the right thing.
Right.
He said, you know, it's not as exciting as somebody going out there messing up and having to be redeemed. You know, that's movie of the week stuff. But somebody that just does what they're supposed to, does the right thing, it is the most amazing story when you look at it because of the impact that they have on the world around them. And you know, of course, I'm always big on impact. I think that, you know, you should be doing things that change the world. You should be doing things that make the world better. You know,
make the world better. That's right. Yeah, because I tell kids when I go out, I say, hey, you can all be a superhero in your community. Okay, you know, you can take up the range. You can, you know, pick up trash. You can help a senior across the street, you know, you can see graffiti, you can report it, okay, and so, you know, you can be the eyes and ears of your community, so that you can help.
And none of that's a new idea.
I'm sorry?
None of that's really new ideas. If you grew up in Boy Scouts like I did, that's stuff that you were taught when you were 5 and 6 years old, you know, Cub Scouts.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Taught that, and then, you know, from my parents. I was blessed to have both of my parents, and you know, my dad died a couple of years ago, but my parents were married for like 60 years, and both my parents were educators, okay, and you know, they held us to the wall, okay, you know, all right, and you know, my dad didn't accept any garbage, okay, and so, you know, that helped to, you know, that's why, you know, I dedicated my first book to my parents, and you know, for the way that they raised us. And I thought they were, you know, when I was a kid, I thought, man, you know, Dad's mean. And I used to tell my uncle, yeah, why is Dad so mean? But then later, you know, I got to appreciate it when I saw some of the other guys I grew up with weren't around anymore, okay? You know, some were in jail, some got shot, you know, and just, you know, some just didn't turn out very well at all, okay? You know, so, you know, I really appreciated it. As I got older, I appreciated the strictness, okay?
And you know, my dad was the same way. I understand that, you know, that you just like, it's like a wall. You get to it and he will not budge on that. And you're growing up and you're like, why is it like that? Well, you know, when you get older, you get to see what's on the other side of that wall, and you realize, you know,
Right.
He gave me the time to become an adult and learn the things that I need to learn before I had to face these issues. Other parents that didn't do that, they let their kids just go do what they wanted to. Like you said, they're in prison, they're dead, their lives were basically ruined because they weren't prepared, they weren't strong enough to face this when it came along.
That's right. You can't let your kids do what they want to do. Okay, they're kids, and we're parents, and we raise the kids. Okay, we have to be their parents, not their friends. Okay, so yet we have to set a good example for them.
Role models. It's encouraging to see kids with strong role models they can turn to, even when they don't have the father figure there or the mother there. To see people like yourself that are there teaching them the things that they need to learn, the safety issues, the health issues, the just tell them to get out there and read a book. You may not get to go to college, but that doesn't mean your education stops. You can continue to learn through your entire life. And like you said, the more you know, the more you'll make and the better you'll be. So that's really encouraging. In closing, we've got about 4 minutes, about 2 more minutes before we have to kind of wrap things up. Is there anything else you want to add to folks know what's going on? Maybe some upcoming events for Danger Man?
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to have a screening in August. In about a couple of weeks, we're going to have a screening of our first film, and it's called Danger Man, Girls Are Not For Sale, okay, because, it deals with human trafficking. That's our first film that, introduces Danger Man on the film. And then our web series will be launching right after that. It's a web series with 12 episodes of action adventure. And what it's about is Max Manley is my AKA. And as Max Manley, I'm an investment banker by day. And I have a family. I have a wife named Brenda Manley and 2 kids. I got Max Jr., who's 10, and Brittany, who's 12. And those are my kids. And of course, the kids don't know I'm a superhero, but, of course, my wife does. And so, we deal with family issues, raising the family, trying to balance my family, home life with my work life, with the life of being a crime fighter, okay? And, so, some cool stuff, and, we're really proud of what we put together and what we shot on that. So, and, then look together for another series, a children's show that we've got a pilot on a children's show that we're shooting as well, which will be about health, safety, and literacy about kids, and a fun kind of show where kids can interact with Danger Man, and for about 20 minutes every day on one of the networks, and just have some fun with it. Okay.
Sounds exciting. Well, I want to take the moment just here to thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. It's great to have you on, and take time out of your busy schedule there, and we'll be watching, of course, on Facebook on the Superhero Academy group that we've got on Facebook where you can post the link to your site, you can post the links to your videos, such like that, and share them with our members. So we're all that. And folks, we're fixing to wrap this up. I'm going to stay after the show goes off air for just a couple minutes and tease the next few shows for everybody. You can listen to that in the podcast, and if you want to stay online and hear that live, you're welcome to here. And I want to remind everybody, when I put the closing song on here, again, we are in a world where people wear spandex and have high ideals. So, and we're going to go out with our traditional closing theme song here.
We're men in light. We roam around the forest looking for light. We're men in time. We run from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like cities, but what would you say, or else we'll put out your light. We're men in light. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. La 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 la. From the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like candy, but don't get us wrong or else we'll put out your light. We're men in tight, tight.
next week we got 2 visiting professors. Cognito and Moxie will be joining us to talk about issues concerning the real-life superhero community. And coming up in August, we'll be talking with Executrix about her zombie walk that she did last year and the fundraiser she's helped organize. Razorhawk will be coming on the week after that, talking about Hope 2011, giving us a report on how well that went at the Comic-Con out there in San Diego. Coming up towards the end of August, Phoenix Jones will be joining us, and we'll be discussing the Rain City superhero movement. Artistroy will be coming back on the last week of August to talk about the Iron Red Project. September 4th, we got the Eye, who's going to be joining us to talk about neighborhood watch programs. Then September 11th, Valerie Finnegan will be back for Patriot Day and talking more about the project that they do with the Real Tales from 911 and beyond. And then 18th of September, we're going to be talking about the Heroes of Albany with the Fox of Albany himself. So we've got some really interesting stuff coming up. More shows being added every week. And looking for ways that we can get this back up to an hour-long program, because it's just not fair to have to cut things off at 30 minutes. So everybody, I want to thank you for being here on Superhero Academy, and I'll see you next week. Same cross time, same cross channel. Have a great day.